So today's topic is on functions. So I will be dealing with the functions, and functions in fact form the foundation of all of your higher mathematics. And what is being done these days in schools and all levels, they generally omit functions. They omit the basic things, just as they know the name of the function, what is behind the function. So enough time is required to understand what we mean by a function. So today's lesson, I will be devoting whatever time is with us on functions. And again, CBSE officials, they have agreed to provide me another lesson or so for these functions. These functions we cannot deal in just one session. So this is a topic which needs a thorough understanding. And for that thorough understanding, naturally, time is required. So after all, so here today I will be getting just one session. Then again after the break, when we start again, so they have assured me to give me a time to deal with the functions. And tomorrow's topic will be inverse trigonometric functions. So these are the topics, these are tricky topics where some depth is required. And in particular, inverse trigonometric functions is a very scoring area as far as the competition exams are concerned. So there are certain scoring areas. They are, of course, somewhat tricky. So again, in tomorrow's lesson, I will not be able to complete that inverse trigonometric functions. So I will be taking up after this break. I hope so. And they call me again, and I will be dealing with these topics in depth so that you really attain that level of attempting the questions. So let us see what we mean by a function. So before that function, a little bit idea of a relation is required. So what we understand by relation, and then main thing I will be coming to function. So today I have loaded a few questions on functions. I don't know whether we'll be able to reach that stage or not, but I will devote my time, whatever is with us, to really understand what is the meaning of these functions, how they work. So this is a type of situation. So we are considering with two non-empty sets. A and B, they are both non-empty sets. A is a non-empty set, B is also a non-empty set. Can you form A cross B? You know the idea of A cross B? In sets, you know, we can form the set of pairs. So it will be the set of pairs. So what is A cross B? So A cross B can be written like this, AB. So in the set of pairs, we can write it. So where, what about A? A is definitely a member from A is coming from A, and this B is coming from B. So that is A cross B. So A cross B, that is the meaning of this A cross B. So here is A cross B. Can you write the order of A cross B? Supposing you know the order of A. Order of A may be written by this type of symbol. That also stands for the number of different elements present in the set. So well, this symbol is also used many times. So this symbol also stands for the number of different elements present in that. So I will be using this type of symbol. And here, M and N I will be using for this place. So let the order of A be M and order of B is equal to N. Then can you find the order of A cross B? So what is the order of A cross B? How many elements? A contains M elements, B contains N elements. So what is the order of A cross B? M into N. So number of elements in this, that will be M into N. So order of, as far as the order of A cross B is concerned, that is really equal to the order of A and into the order of B. So that means this is equal to M into N. That is the order of A cross B. So what we mean by a relation? I am talking in terms of mathematical way. So what we mean by a relation? So any subset of A cross B, that becomes a relation. Any subset of A cross B, that becomes a relation. So how many subsets of A cross B are possible? How many subsets? You know the order of A cross B, M into N. So how many subsets? If there is a set, containing n elements, there is set containing n elements, then what is the number of subsets? 2 raised to the power. So here how many subsets will be possible? 2 raised to the power m into n. So every subset will be a relation. Every subset will be a relation. So that gives you that how many relations are possible from A to B. The number of relations possible from A to B is so many, quite a big number. So 2 raised to the power m into n. Is it right? Number of relations. So here I take a particular example. So here I am taking a particular example, say 1, 3, 5, 7. I have selected this A. Let me select B. So B, say -2, 0, say 2, 4, 6. So here is B. I have written A, I have written B. So what is the order of A? 4. What is the order of B? 5. So how many relations are possible from A to B? How many relations are possible from A to B? If I want to get a relation from A to B, then how many relations are possible? So 2 raised to the power A cross B. So 2 raised to the power 20, because its order is 4, its order is 5. So order of A cross B will turn out to be 20. So how many relations are possible? Number of subsets. Number of subsets will be 2 raised to the power 20. 2 raised to the power 20 is quite a big number. So there are many relations, and I am just taking one relation. So let this relation I be written as less than. So here R is a relation, is less than from A to B. A to B. R is this relation. R is the relation less than from A to B. Now can you write this relation in roster form? Roster form. So in language I have written this relation as less than from A to B. So in builder form I can put the things like this, that it is x, y. This x is coming from which place? X is coming from A, and this y is coming from, x is a member from A, y is a member from B. And the main thing is to be written. This relation is less than. So that is the main thing to be written. These were just the formalities I have observed, that this consists of pairs like this. X is coming from A, y is coming from B, from A cross B. So it is how it's coming. Now the main is less than. So that means the main thing is that x must be less than y. X must be less than y. That is the main thing. This relation is less than from A to B. So I have put this relation in the builder form. So here is that builder form. Can you write this relation in the roster form now? So roster form. So this element, you look upon this element. This related what element? Is this 1 is less than -2, right or wrong? 1 is less than -2 is wrong. So 1 is less than 0 is wrong. 1 is less than 2 is correct. So here we find that 1, 2 will belong to this relation. Then again you find that 1, 4 will also belong to this relation. So 1, 6 will also belong to this relation. 1 should be less than all those elements. 1 is less than 2, 1 is less than 4, 1 is less than 6. All these elements. Then next comes 3. So 3 is less than -2, 0, 2. That's all wrong. 3, 4, that becomes your next entry. So here is 3, 4, then 3, 6. Then after that, 5, 6, agreed. So after that, 5, 6. Anything more? Nothing. So here is this relation. I have put up just in language, then I have demonstrated in the builder form, and here is your roster form. And if it is written in the roster form, this is much more clear. All the elements, they become before our eyes. And from here, we can get the idea of the domain of a relation. What we mean by the domain of a relation. Domain of a relation, only those elements which are connected certain elements. So what is the domain of R? As far as domain is concerned, so domain of R will consist of course, it will be coming from A itself. Domain will come from A. Domain, that will come from A. And only those elements are to be taken which are related So 1 is related with something, 3, 5, 7 is not there. 7 is not uh, presented here. So here you notice that the domain will consist of 1, 3, 5. So domain may not be equal to the whole of A. The domain may not be equal to the whole of A as far as relation is concerned. I am talking about the relation. So here is the domain, and this B, that is called codomain. Codomain is definitely, there is nothing wrong in saying that B is the codomain. But the main idea is that what is the range? Can you write the range of this relation? So what is the range? Range will consist of only which present as the second part, second components. So what are the second components? Minus 2 is not visible, 2 is not there. So this 2, 4, and 6, they are coming. So as far as range is concerned, it's 2, 4, 6. That range may not be equal to the whole of codomain. It may be a part of that, may be a proper subset of that. So we have got the idea of domain and range. Even we can form a diagram for this. I can have a diagram, arrow diagram, or sometimes we call it as a Venn diagram. So here it consists of A. A consists of what elements? 1, 3, 5, and 7. So here is A, and B consists of, here is minus 2 and 0. Then is 2, 4, and 6. So here is your set B. I have just marked A and B, marking an arrow diagram, or sometimes we may say Venn diagrams even. So how you can depict this relation? How we can write this relation? You look here, 1 is connected with 2, 1 is connected with 4. So 1 is connected with 2, 1 is connected with 4, 1 is connected with 6. So 1 is connected with all these elements. 1 is connected with 2, 1 is connected with 4, 1 is connected with 6. Then this 3. 3 is connected with what? 3 is connected with 3 with 4 and 6. 3 is connected with 4, and 3 is connected with 6. 3 is not connected with 2, all right? Then here is the next element comes 5. 5 is connected with 6. So 5 is connected with 6. So here is your that relation. I have marked that relation with the help of arrow diagrams. That gives you the relation. Now, what is the difference between a relation and a function? My main idea is to give you what we mean by a function. So I have given you an idea of just an example. Through an example, try to demonstrate that what we mean by a relation. So relation is a subset of A cross B. A and B, they must be both non-empty. A must be non-empty. If it is empty, we can't do anything. What to be done? So A is non-empty, B is also non-empty, then we are getting some relation. We have got the idea of how many relations are possible, number of relations are possible. So there were so many, and I have just picked up 1 out of 2 raised to the power 20. And that relation I have written as less than. So less than I have put up in the language form, then I have put up in the builder form, then I have put up in the roster form, then even in the diagram. So what is the difference between a function and a relation? There is a lot of difference between a function and a relation. So every relation cannot be a function, but every function will be a relation. We are definitely starting with a relation. Now, whether this relation becomes a function or not, that is to be decided. So what is a function? Function needs much stronger conditions. So what are those conditions imposed for a function? Those conditions imposed are, first of all, every element of A must have an image. Every element of A must have an image. If some element is left, that means it cannot be a function. It cannot be a function. So every element of A must have an image, and it must have a unique image in B. It must have a unique image. There are 2 main restrictions imposed upon a function. The first is that corresponding to every element of A, we must get an answer in B. We must get not beyond B. Of course, we are working from A to B. So that means corresponding to every element from A, we must get an element in B. Corresponding to every element, that is to be noticed. Corresponding to every element, we must get an image. And we must get a unique image. We must get a unique image. So here, what are the problems? As far as this example is concerned, The first problem is that this element doesn't have an image. So we can rule out that it is definitely not an example of a function. So one thing is sufficient, but still we can say something more also. And that is a much more to be noticed. One has got 2 as image, one has got 4 as image, one has got 6 as image. So one has got 3 images. One element cannot have 3 images. One element must have a unique image. So this is not a function. This is not a function due to 2 counts, not only 1 count. 1 count is just every element should have an image. And here we find that this element 7 has got no image. So we could directly say that this is not an example of function, but still. So another thing is also to be noticed, that is very important to be noticed, that corresponding to every element of A must have a unique image. And if corresponding to one element, arrows are pointing out towards more than one, that means that's not going to be a function. So this is not an example of a function. So this is how the functions and the difference between the function and the relation. I'm just giving you one more example of a relation, and more examples will be given about that function. So I am considering the set A. Say, let me consider the set A is -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I want to consider relation from A to A. There is no harm in considering the relation from A to A. This another, that may be a different set, it may be a same set, does not matter. So here I can consider relation from A to A. Well, this type of relation may be named as R is a relation. So here I am defining a relation on A. On A means from A to A. When I am using this word on A, it means we are working from A to A. So here I want to have a relation from A to A. How many relations are possible? Number of relations I am thinking of. How many relations are possible? What is the order of A? Order of A, how many elements are there? Can you count? 10. So you have counted good, good one. So order of A you have counted as 10. It's really 10. 1 to 7 and then 3 more. So order of A is definitely equal to 10. So now, what is the order of A cross A? And here I need A cross A, as I was working on A cross B. So here when I want to have a relation from A to A, so I need A cross A. So what is the order of A cross A? 10 into 10, 100. So here the order of A cross A is 100. So how many relations are possible? 2 raised to the power 100. So number of relations possible are 2 raised to the power 100. So many, very big number, 2 raised to the power 100, 2 multiplied so many times, I think quite a big number. If we start moving from here, it may not end even at this place. So it's quite a big number. So many relations. So I am just taking one relation out of them. So here I am writing it in builder form. Let me say xy. Now what is this x? X is coming from A, y is also coming from A. Here we are working from A to A. That means x is a member from A, well y is also a member from A. So here we can say x and y, they both belong to A. They both belong to A. Even if we don't mention, it is quite clear when you have already said that we are working from A to A. So, but better to write, that is still better, gives you better idea. But what is that relation? The main thing is about that relation to be written. So I am writing that relation as, say, y is equal to 2x plus 1. Y is equal to 2x plus 1. So that means it is a type of a rule. That's what I am providing. It is a type of rule, multiplying by 2, then adding 1. Multiplying by 2 and adding 1 to it. 2x plus 1. So two things they are being done simultaneously. That is multiplying by 2, then adding 1. Can you write it in the roster form? What is this R is equal to? R is equal to? Give me the answer in the roster form. Give me the answer. If it is wrong, does not matter. We will be learning. Yes, go on. Please write it. Write the first entry. I was looking for one step in particular, and here some students have not committed mistake, some they have committed mistake. So I have framed this question like that. So you may commit mistakes, and if one commits mistakes, one learns. So that mistake is never repeated then. So here the first entry you are writing as 2, -2, and -3. Well, -3 does not belong to A. -3 does not belong to A. Have you noticed? -2, -3 does not belong to A. So that means this entry you cannot write. -2, -3 you are writing, and this is not practicable. This is not possible as far as this is concerned. You are thinking of, you are putting -2 at this place because your A consists of these type of things. You are putting -2 and getting the answer Y as -3. So that means that this entry looks like that, -2, -3. But really -3 does not belong to the set. So that means this is not there. So we can't write this entry. So you cannot write -2. Is it all right? Well, we can write -1. If I write -1 at this place, so then we'll be getting -1, -1. This is all right. So the first entry we should write is -1 and -1. Then next you write 0. So if I write 0, I will be getting 1. And next I will be writing 1, so 1, 3. Then 2, 5. 3, 7. Should I stop? Yes, I must stop at this place. Because if I fill further, if I write x equal to 4, then I will be getting y equal to 9. Again, 9 does not belong to A, so we should stop. So as far as this relation is concerned, this relation really consists of only these members. So these are the only entities as far as this relation is concerned. So I have given this example only to observe that sometimes the students, they do write -2 and -3, which was not practicable. That was not there. Anyway, so here is your this relation. Is this relation a function? No. Can we write the domain of this relation? Domain of R. Can we write it? Only the first entries. The first entries, they will form the domain. The first entries are -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. That is the domain. And if domain is not equal to A itself, if the domain is not equal to itself, it cannot be the example of a function. Well, corresponding to a function. So corresponding to every element of A, we must get a unique answer. But here there are some elements of which are left, which don't have the image. So it is not an example of a function. Is it all right? So that is a type of situation. But of course, whatever elements are there, we are getting unique answer. Corresponding to this, we are getting only one answer. Corresponding to this, we are getting one answer. But here the problem is only that this domain is not equal to the whole of A. The domain must be equal to whole of A. If it is not so, it is not an example of a function. So it is not a function. That was a type of situation. So I got this example. So how you can say a function from x to y? X is a non-empty set, y is also a non-empty set. So what is a function? So for a function corresponding to every element of x, there must be unique element in y. So well, this will be an example of a function. Say for all x belonging to x, there must exist. So there should exist. There exists say unique element, say y of y. There must exist a unique element y of y corresponding to every element of x. Corresponding to every element of x, there must exist a unique element y, c of y, such that the image of x, that should be equal to y. The image of under that function, that must be equal to y. If it is so, then of course that will be an example of a function. Otherwise, it will not be an example of function. Sometimes back, I am talking about 50 years or even more back time. So once students in my class, I was teaching class 12, and a student, a very intelligent student, he asked me, sir, can you give a physical example of a function? So I thought some example of a physical example, and I am quoting that example, which I quoted about 50 years or more back. So I thought I gave the example like this, that think of that there is a type of a mechanism which makes needles, something very simple mechanism. There is a mechanism which is making needles. Now, well, for this mechanism, you need some raw material, What type of raw material you are expected to find out? So iron wire pieces, some iron wire pieces, and of stable length, because I don't know what type of, how much length it makes. Supposing it makes a 5 centimeter long needle. So I need that type of length of these iron wire pieces and of stable thickness so that it can work. So I can find out the raw material. So I will have to collect some raw material, so iron wire pieces, and then I put one iron wire piece into this mechanism, and I must get an answer. I must get an answer. Or this mechanism should not be like that, that our raw material is just a wastage. It's giving nothing. No result is coming forward. And moreover, you can't expect more than one needle. You are putting one iron wire piece into it. One iron wire piece is being inserted into it. This mechanism works on it and it converts it into a needle. So you are getting a unique answer. So corresponding to every element, you are getting a unique answer. So raw material, that raw material is the domain. That raw material is the domain of the function. This mechanism, device, or rule, whatever is there, well, that is the function. That is the function. And whatever result you are getting, that is a part of range. That's a part of range. You are getting the answer. So I am putting x from here in this mechanism. F is your mechanism. So f is your function. F is mechanism. Here I have picked up x and put under that. It works on it and gives you y as the image. So that is a type of situation. So corresponding to every element, we must get a unique answer going through this. So this x is not that function. Really, f of x is also not a function. We sometimes use defective language. The real situation is f is that function. X is your that raw material, so x is a part of the domain. F is your mechanism. F is that. And what is f of x? F of x is the effect of that. F of x is your needle. F of x is your needle. That's why. So f of x is the answer. F of x is the answer. So x, that forms your domain. This f is your mechanism, your rule, what device, whatever it is. So that is your function. And then this f of x, that is a part of range. So that is a type of situation. So corresponding to every element, we must get a unique answer in y. Corresponding to every element, we must get a unique answer. So it must happen. So if it doesn't work at all, so we'll have to find out raw material suitably. Sometimes the domain is not given. If it is given, well and good. Sometimes it is not given. Then we'll have to think of that what type of a domain, what type of raw material we have to select, looking upon our that mechanism, whatever type of device is with us. So looking upon that, we shall find out what is to be inserted in that. So domain, sometimes if not given, we will have to find it out. So that is a type of situation. This is how it works. So then of course, so domain and the range. So we have got the idea of the domain and the range. So in particular, we'll be more concerned with the real valued functions. Of course, we are concerned with the general functions, but we are much more concerned with the real numbers, because whole of our calculus and all that depends on real numbers. Even I was working on trigonometry, and I have put the trigonometry not on angles, I have put the trigonometry on real numbers. So thinking about the trigonometry on angles, that was 80 years back, and we are much moving ahead. So some of you have not gone through the lessons of trigonometry. So I would advise you to look to your video and see what trigonometry is in reality. So it is not on angles. We are going much beyond that triangle, much beyond that. We are looking much beyond that. We have moved along that circle. So that trigonometry has been put on real numbers. So anyway, we'll be working on real valued functions. So what is a real valued function? Real valued function. Real valued function. So what we mean by a real valued function? So our answers, they should be real valued. Whatever values we are getting, they should be reals. And moreover, we'll be starting on real numbers. In fact, we'll be working real valued functions on real numbers. On real numbers. The proper name is, the full name is the real valued function on real numbers. Or sometimes we simply say real function. Real function we mean we are starting from real numbers and we are ending with the real numbers. Starting from real numbers and ending with the real numbers. So these type of functions, they are known as the real valued functions. So what is a real valued function? So when this f, we are going to define a real valued function. Real valued function we are to define. So what is a real valued function? So f is a rule. F is a rule which associates, f is a rule which associates to every possible real number x, to every possible real number x, a unique real number, a unique real number. So every possible real number x. I have used this word every possible real number x. For example, if your function is given like this, x squared minus 4 over x minus 2. If the function is put up like this, f of x equal to x squared minus 4 divided by x minus 2. Here you observe that you cannot put x equal to 2. X equal to 2 we cannot write, because if we write x equal to 2, we get 0 in the denominator. That's not logical. Even if you factorize x plus 2 into x minus 2, and sometimes you don't bother and you cancel out this factor. So we cancel out the factor only with a promise that x should not be equal to 2. If x is equal to 2, we are not allowed to cancel this factor, because in that case we'll be getting 0 in the denominator. So as far as the domain of this function is concerned, sometimes I write the domain of f, domain of that function, by this type of symbol. D stands for domain and f stands for function. So what is the domain of function? So what is the problem here? In this problem, we cannot write 2. X equal to 2 cannot be written. Anything else can be written. We can write anything else. So as far as the domain of this function is concerned, it consists of all reals leaving out that number 2. We can say in language except 2. Except 2, or like this. So here is the domain of the function. So we can consider the domain. I would like to take few questions on finding the domain and the range of real valued functions. Well, before I take the domain and range, I am giving you a simple question. Here is 1 by x less than 1. Can you solve this inequality? In equation, you can call it. So here is an inequation, 1 by x less than 1. And we are to solve in real numbers. We are to solve it in real numbers. So what real numbers you are getting? What is the answer to this inequation? What values of x? Yes? If it is wrong, how does it matter?
X belongs to 1 to infinity.
X belongs to 1 to infinity. You have already spent 1 year in class 11 and still you don't understand what is a function, what is the domain of the function. how to find it out? My Lord. Except one students, all are doing like this, that they are multiplying by x. If you multiply by x, of course, I will be getting 1 less than x, or you can say x greater than 1. And if x is greater than 1, you can make a number line like this. Here is the number 1, and greater than 1, you are thinking of that x belongs to 1 to infinity. So that's what answer you are giving. You are giving the answer as 1 infinity. This is definitely wrong, because you have multiplied by x, and you don't know whether x is positive or negative. If x is positive, then it would have been right. But if x is negative, so you have ignored at least half of the question. You have done only half of the question. You have ignored the other half. So really there are two cases. So either x is of course not equal to 0, because x is in the denominator. X cannot be 0. So there are two cases. X must be greater than 0. What happens? When x is less than 0, what happens? So we should arise two cases. So either we should go through the two cases. That answer is wrong. So it is giving only half of the part. The other half part is missing. So this is not the correct answer. This is a wrong answer. So here we find is that this is a wrong answer. So because we have ignored the other half. So either we should arise two cases or some other way out. So instead of arising two cases, so I am trying to find out some practical, a good method to solve such types of inequations. Let us try to learn that process. So I am marking a number line, and on this number line, I am marking the number A1, A2, A3, and so on. And like this, say an minus 1, I am marking the number an. So all these are real numbers, A1, but here A1 is less than A2, is less than A3. Our figure also indicates like this. So here A1 is less than A2, is less than A3, and so on. Now corresponding to this, I want to get a factor. And here is the factor, x minus A1. And then corresponding to this, I want to have a factor x minus A2, and so on. So corresponding to this, I have a factor A, x minus n minus 1, and x minus an. So here I am trying to create a big inequality. So here is a big inequality. Now what it may happen is, it may be greater than 0. We shall try to answer if it is greater than 0. Otherwise, you will have to bring so many cases. If supposing these are 10 numbers, then you will have to bring 10 cases. And to solve the problem in 10 cases is a too difficult, a lengthy job. But if we think the situation like this, and imagine here, if you mark a number somewhere on this side, only on this side, I'm trying to mark a number somewhere on this side. So this x is greater than an. This x is, if I mark a number here, x is greater than an. So that means this factor is positive, x is greater than an. So x is greater than this number as well. X is greater than all. So all the factors, they will be positive. All the factors, they will be positive. Each factor is positive, product is positive. So that means these numbers, they will satisfy this equation. Have you followed? That these numbers, they will satisfy. And if you notice these numbers, so these numbers, they will satisfy. These numbers will not satisfy. Why they will not satisfy? If I choose x somewhere here, that means all these factors will be positive, but this factor will be negative. So that means the product will turn out to be negative, less than. So these numbers will not satisfy. Are you getting it? And if I consider the next gap, then two factors will be negative, all others are positive, the product will be positive. So it's a very simple process. So these number will satisfy, this will not satisfy, this will satisfy, will not satisfy, and so on. We shall be writing the answer. Just we shall have a figure, and just looking upon the figure, no need of making cases. No need of making cases. We call it as the method of intervals. So method of intervals we call it. So very simple process. So again, if it is greater than or equal to 0, what will be the situation? It is greater than or equal to 0. Then what change you are expecting? Equality. In that case, we will be taking the equality. Otherwise, we will not be taking the equality. If it is greater than equal to, so we will have to take care of the equality. So there may be only greater than, we can solve the problem. There may be greater than equal to, we can solve the problem. Or what else can happen? What else can happen? Greater than 0, greater than equal to 0, or it may happen less than 0, less than equal to 0. We shall try to sort out these situations also when it is less than 0. So when less than 0, then what will happen? Let us try to understand. If it is less than 0, if it is less than 0, that means we will not start from this gap. We shall not start from here, then we shall start from this gap. We shall start from this gap. In that case, we started from here, and then we counted this left, this counted, so on. But in this case, if it is less than, because this factor will be negative and all others will be positive, so in total it will be negative, so they will satisfy. Then you start from here, not from this place, you start from here, leave out this, count this, and so on. Count these gaps like this. That will be the situation. That will be the only change. So very simple to see that how to solve these inequalities and in equations. And if there is a put up equal to, then the only change will be that will be counting these numbers. Now, for example, let me demonstrate. So here it is, supposing x plus 3 into x minus 2, x plus 1 into x. All right, this is say greater than or equal to 0. Now, first of all, you have to arrange these numbers. One thing is quite clear. A1 must be less than A2, must be less than A3, and so on. So in this way, you have to, first of all, arrange the situation. So this factor is connected with what number? I can write x minus minus 3. I can write it as, this factor I can write as x minus minus 3. And then here is your this number, minus 1. Take care of minus 1. This 2 is bigger. 2 is bigger. Then comes minus 1. So here is x minus minus 1. And then here is x. So can we write x minus 0? I can write it as x minus 0. X can be written as x minus 0. Then is your this factor, x minus 2. So this step is very much needed. First of all, take care of that A1 is less than A2, less than A3. If you commit a mistake here, then you will be in trouble. So well, we can definitely sort out which number we have to write the first. So that's very simple. Now, otherwise, to solve this inequality is quite a big job. 5 cases will arise. This less than, this lies between minus 3 and minus 1, lies between minus 1 and 0, lies between 0 and 2, then greater than 2, greater than 2. So many cases. And it's too difficult problem. Otherwise, it may take 1 page or so, and still we may be not getting the proper answer. Now here you mark the number line. And on this number line, you mark only these numbers. Nothing more to be written. No more number is to be written. Don't write 0 if 0 is not involved. Of course, in this question, 0 is involved. So we shall be writing 0. Otherwise, don't write 0. If 0 is not involved here, don't write 0. Write only these numbers. Write minus 3, then write minus 1. Somewhere here is minus 1. Then the number 0, and then the number 2. That's all. Nothing more is to be written. Only these numbers are to be written. Are you following it? Minus 3, minus 1, 0, 2. Only these numbers are to be written. Is it clear? And now what answer? It is greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to, we start from here. And if it is less than or equal to, we don't start from here. We start from this place. So that means they will form an answer. They won't form an answer. They will form an answer. They won't form an answer. They will form an answer. So at once, the result is ready with us. So howsoever big inequality this type of inequation may be, we should know the process. And if that process is known, the solution is known to us, no mistake can be committed. It's so convenient, so easy, we can settle the things. So what about the solutions now? Solutions to this problem will be what? So these numbers, and when you write the answer, you start from this place. So here is minus infinity to minus 3. So we never write closed on this side. This much is already known to you. But here, whether equal to is to be written or not, that will depend upon this side. If it is equal to, we'll have to write closed. We'll have to write closed. Then union. Look upon the figure. So this gap is not to be taken. So next gap is your this one. Minus 1 and 0. Closed interval. Minus 1 and 0. Closed interval. Then is your this gap. So union to infinity. Is it right? So it is so a good method, a very good method to solve these types of inequalities. Some people call them inequalities. Some people, they call them inequation. But I would like to call them as inequation whenever x is involved. So better to say as inequation. Anyway, does not matter. So if you call inequation or inequality, this is how you can sort out the things. And supposing the situation is like this, the same problem, if I put like this, that it is less than, instead of writing that question, if I write another question like this, supposing it is less than, then that step was very essential. You have to arrange these numbers in a proper manner. If you don't arrange these numbers in a proper manner, you will be reaching at a wrong place. So we have to arrange the numbers at a proper place, and then less than. So for less than, we are not to start from here. We are not to start from this place. We are to start only from here. Is it right? And then this is not to be taken. This is to be taken. This is not to be taken. The matter is over. The matter is over. So what about the solutions now? The solutions will be from minus 3 to minus 1. And this time open. This time it is open. So minus 3 to minus 1. Then 0 to 2. 0 to 2. That's the open. So that will be the solution of this. Is it all right? So you followed the way how to solve these types of inequalities. And now I come to my original question. My original question was this: 1 by x less than 1. Of course, the first observation is that x is not equal to 0. The first observation is that x is not equal to 0. And now, if x is not 0, what about x square? What about x square? X is a real number, and x is not 0. X square will be positive or not? X square will be positive. So what I will be doing is, I will be multiplying by x square. I don't want to arise two cases. I want to sort this problem in a simple manner. So simple manner is that I would multiply by x square. In place of x, I will multiply by x square. Because x square is definitely positive. X is not equal to 0. That definitely ensures that x square is greater than 0. So I am multiplying by x square. If I multiply by x square, I will be getting x, so less than x square. I have multiplied both sides by x square, and x square is positive. So now no two cases. No two cases, because x square is positive. So we are, that is simplified. We have simplified the problem. No botheration of those two cases. Now you are to simply solve this inequality or inequation. Can I write 0 is less than x square minus x? Or can I write x square minus x is greater than 0? Or can I write x into x minus 1 greater than 0? X into x minus 1 greater than 0. Is it all right? So this number, if you want to write, rewrite x minus 0, x minus 1 is greater than 0. Now you mark the number line and your answers will be ready. Mark the number line. So here is the number line. Which numbers are to be marked? 0 is to be marked, 1 is to be marked. That's all. Don't mark any other number. You are required to mark only those numbers which are involved in the problem. Which are involved in the problem. Only those numbers are to be marked. And this time it is greater than. Greater than means we are to start from which place? We are to start from here. This is to be taken, this is not to be taken, this is to be taken. Is it right? So what about the answers now? So they are the answers. So what is the solution now? solution is minus infinity to 0. Equality is not there. Equality is not there. So that means open interval, and here is union is 1 to infinity. So this is a far better method than arising those cases. I have saved you from all that botheration of those cases and put the things in a proper way. And one question I am writing, which was once asked in IIT papers, sometimes back, a few years back. 4x minus x cubed divided by x squared plus 4x plus 3, square root. And that was the function. The question was to find the domain. The question was to find the domain of the function. Now it appears a difficult question, but if we think it in a proper manner, so it may not be so. Well, for this domain, that is my way of writing generally. I say for domain, what should happen is f of x must be a real number, understood? F of x, that is whatever it is, it must be a real number. Now for this to be a real number, what should happen? This must be a real number. This will be a real number provided we don't get a negative sign, provided this is positive. And moreover, denominator should not be 0. So there are two restrictions. The first restriction is for this purpose, this implies that 4x minus x cubed divided by x squared plus 4x plus 3, that should be greater than or equal to 0, maybe equal to, because below square root, you can write 0 as well. We can write 0. But another restriction is that x squared plus 4x plus 3, that should not be equal to 0. That should not be equal to 0. Can you factorize? What are the factors here? X plus 1 and x plus 3. These are the factors. That means x plus 1 into x plus 3. That should not be 0. This means x should not be minus 1 and minus 3. So that thing we are making a promise that x will not be allowed as minus 1 and minus 3. And now you are to solve this. Now, how to solve this inequality? Can I take x as common? I am saving a step. And minus x also as minus x as common. Instead of x, I am taking minus x as common. And we'll be left with what? Can you find out? I am taking minus x as common. We'll be left with x squared minus 4. X squared minus 4. And I am getting the factors x plus 2 into x minus 2. You notice I have taken negative out. So we are getting minus x out, and we are left with x squared minus 4. And here are the factors. And in the denominator, we have already got the factors. The factors are x plus 3 and x plus 1. And this is greater than or equal to 0. Greater than or equal to 0. Is it all right? Now, I don't want to raise cases. If I raise cases, so many cases, and I will be caught just 2 hours work. If I raise the cases, I am not going to raise the cases. Now you know the process behind it. What is to be done? How to get rid of this denominator? How to get rid of this denominator? We will multiplying by the square. We shall multiply by the square. So that means what is to be done is we shall multiply by what? We shall multiply by x plus 3 whole square as well as x plus 1 whole square. I will be multiplying by x plus 3 whole square into x plus 1 whole square. Is it right? So if I multiply by that, because square will never be negative, and this is not 0 itself, so that means square is definitely positive, because this number is definitely positive. And I am multiplying by a positive, so saved from the whole botheration. So that means I will be getting as minus x into x plus 2 into x minus 2 into x plus 3 into x plus 1 greater than or equal to 0. Is it all right? Can you clear off this negative sign? I can multiply by minus 1. I can multiply by -1. If I multiply by -1, the inequality will change. Is it all right? And let me say one more step. The step is I want to write these numbers. This is connected with -3. Is it all right? So I want to write this step first, x plus 3. Then this number is connected with -2. So I am writing -2. Then this number is connected with -1. Then this number x. Can I write x minus 0? And then is x minus 2. Should we write less than or equal to? Because I have multiplied by one negative sign. Is it all right? And now, don't write so many cases. How beautifully we can get the answer, provided we know the system. If that system is known to us, we can get the answer at once. So here is the number line. Mark that number line. So which numbers are to be marked? Only these numbers. -3 is to be marked. -2 is to be marked. -1 is to be marked. 0. Take care of 0. If this number is present here, only then you mark 0. Otherwise, don't be in the habit of that you are to mark 0. You will be committing a mistake in that way. You are to mark 0 provided it is there in the system. So it is there in the system, and then the number 2. And what about the solutions now? If this number line is before you, the solutions are available. So now this time it is less than. So you are not to start from here. You are to start from this gap. So this gap, this is not there, this gap, this is not there, this gap, not there, this gap. Is it all right? So what is the answers now? -infinity to -3. Should we write open or closed? Closed. But you made a promise. You have made a promise that you won't allow -3. Is it all right? So when a promise is made, it is to be kept. Or should we break that promise? So we have made a promise that -3 is not to be written. Otherwise, we might have written according to this. If we look upon this, we should have written that. But we made a promise. So here is the open interval. Then union. Union is -2 to -1. So here is -2 to -1. -2 to -1. -2 closed. -1 open. You are now following that -1 is not to be written here. Then union 0 to 2. 0 to 2. That's all closed? Yes. So here is the domain of this problem. It seemed a very difficult question, but if we do it in a proper manner, then it is not so difficult. To understand functions really, we need something. And if you have not understood the functions properly, then how you can go ahead? How you can find continuity, how you can find limits, how you can find derivatives and all that. So we'll be working just in darkness without understanding anything. So we must have some proper base. After all, you are to appear in the competition, not that board exam. Don't think about board exam. You are much above that. For that purpose, some sound knowledge is required, some sound foundation is required. And for that, there's enough time is needed to understand these functions. Anyway, so here is another question. F of x, I am writing it as 1 over 1 minus x squared. Can you find the domain and the range? Domain as well as the range. So domain, first of all, is the domain, and then the other part is the range. So range means the answers. What are the answers? We need both. Now, well, for the domain is simple for this problem. For domain, there is no problem of square root. The only problem is that denominator. Denominator should not be 0. So that means x should not be equal to 1 or -1. So for domain, it's quite simple. So domain, what is happening is all real numbers, leaving out only these two numbers, -1 and 1. Write down this type of bracket. Don't write the other bracket like this. that will convey different meaning. That will contain all the numbers in between -1 to 1. And here we are to leave out only these two. So take care of which type of bracket you are writing. So it is a bracket for the set. So that means leaving out only these two elements, -1 and 1. So that is the domain. Well, for the range, we'll have to work it out. Let me call it as y. Y is equal to f of x. So I need the values of y. So y is equal to 1 over 1 minus x squared. Y is equal to this much. Is it all right? So I need the values for y. I am trying for the values of y. Y is equal to what? So y, that will give you the range. Well, for the range, from here I am taking the reciprocal. So 1 over y is equal to 1 minus x squared. I have taken the reciprocal. When you have taken the reciprocal, one thing is quite clear, that y should not be equal to 0. That y should not be equal to 0. Because if I write 0, and 0 is not allowed. Even here, if you put 0, I can multiply, we'll be getting 1 equal to 0. So 0 is not allowed. Anyway, here we are getting this much. Or from here, can I get x square on this side? I am getting x square on this side. So 1 minus 1 over y. 1 over y. Is it all right? Or can I write here is y minus 1 over y? I just simplified it. And what about x square now? What is x square? X is a real number, so x square is positive. So x square is greater than or equal to 0. You know it. We definitely know this much, that this is greater than or equal to 0. So something to be thought of from our own brain. So how to get rid of this? So that means from here it follows that y minus 1 over y, that should be greater than or equal to 0. X square should be greater than or equal to 0. And here is x square. X square is y minus 1 over y. So this should be greater than or equal to 0. Now your question is simple. So you are to solve this inequality. How to solve this inequality? You have to multiply by y square. All right, agreed. So I am multiplying by y square. So y minus 1 into y is greater than or equal to 0. Well, I must arrange it properly. Y minus 0, y minus 1. Otherwise, I will be in a trouble. I will be in trouble if I try to write the numbers like this on the number line. That's not logical. I am telling you again and again that this has to be arranged in a proper manner. And now you mark the number line, that will give you the answer. So number line here is a 0 and then 1. 0 and 1. 0 and 1. And this is greater than or equal to what answers? What answers? So these answers, these are not answers, these are the answers. So what is the range? So range for this problem? Range. And that was the domain, and this symbol stands for the range. R stands for the range. D stands for domain. Domain of the function, this is the range of the function. So range of the function consists of minus infinity to 0. 0 included or not? This rule tells you including, but you have already made somewhere a promise. You made a promise at that place, so that means 0 is not to be included. So union, it is 1 infinity. 1 is to be included. So here is the domain and the range. This is how we can find out the domain and the range of the problem. Is it all right? Will that do? Or some more examples? I have got enough examples for this domain and range. Naturally, if you are reading functions, so they are to be read with a little bit proper manner. For that purpose, we need time. Well, one more example. So f of x is equal to 1 over, say, 9 minus x square under root. So what is the domain of this function? What is the range of the function? I will type for both. So what is the domain or domain of the function? What should happen? This must be a real number. For this must be a real number. Well, for this to be a real number, 9 minus x square must be greater than 0. No equality. 9 minus x square must be greater than 0. Is it all right? Or it means what? It means, can I multiply by one negative? So x square minus 9 is less than 0. X square minus 9, I multiplied by one negative sign. Can I factorize? So we can have the factors x plus 3 and x minus 3. I've written 3 plus 3 on this side because I am to arrange. So this is less than 0. Now here is the number 9. We'll give you the answer. Here is minus 3 and 3. 0 is not present in between, so don't mark 0. Mark only these numbers. Now this time it is less than. Less than means what? So not to be taken from here. It's this much, not to be taken from here. So what is the domain for this problem? Less than. It is strictly less than. So domain for the problem, as far as domain is concerned, minus 3 to 3, open interval. So domain is equal to minus 3 to 3. Is it all right? Let us try for the range. Let's try for the range of the problem. So what is the range of the problem? Let me call as y is equal to f of x, and f of x is 1 over 9 minus x square under root. So that means I have got y is equal to 1 over 9 minus x square under root. Should I take reciprocal? So I am taking reciprocal. So I will be getting 1 by y is equal to 9 minus x square. So one thing is quite clear. Some promise you can make even at this place. Y is not equal to 0. Even at this place, you can notice you can't put y as 0. So we'll be getting 1 equal to 0 in that case. Or from here, what we can get is x square is equal to 9 minus 1 over y. 9 minus 1 over y. Is it all right? Taken this term to this side, this term to the other side. Or can I write it as 9y square minus 1 over y? 9, oh, 9, this was y square. Oh, one mistake, one more mistake we have committed. This under root should have been here. We have taken the reciprocal, so this under root should have been written here. Or what can I write is 1 over y square is equal to 9 minus x square. I've squared both sides. Or what we are getting is x square is equal to 9 minus 1 by y square. It is equal to 9y square minus 1 over y square. And you know that x square is greater than or equal to 0. X square is greater than or equal to 0. This much is known to us. So that means it gives you 9y square minus 1 over y square is greater than or equal to 0. I think we can multiply by y square. That's simple. So we'll be getting 9y square minus 1 is greater than or equal to 0. Or can I write y square minus 1 by 9 is greater than or equal to 0. Y square minus 1 by 9. Is it all right? So can we have the factors? So here's y plus 1 by 3 into y minus 1 by 3 is greater than or equal to 0. Can I mark the number line? So here is minus 1 by 3 and this is 1 by 3. That's all, nothing more to be needed, nothing more is required. So what about the solutions? What about the solutions? Either these solutions or these are not solutions, these solutions. So that means you are expecting the range to be minus infinity to minus 3. Closed. A union 1 by 3 infinity. Is it all right? But this is something wrong. This is not the correct answer. Where we have committed a mistake. I have done it deliberately. Y square. No, the mistake was, that mistake was done deliberately to point out to you that here is this thing, y cannot be negative. This is square root. This is the square root, and square root cannot be negative. Is it all right? So the caution was not only this thing, we should have imposed a much bigger caution. Instead of only this caution, that caution should have been much bigger than this. Is it all right? I have done it deliberately, just to see that can you look upon this mistake or not. So here y cannot be negative, y cannot be 0. So restriction should have been y is greater than 0. So make this restriction, go through original situation and see what should we write. Is it all right? Square root, that cannot be negative. So much stronger restriction. So before squaring, when we square, we may get some wrong results in between. But before squaring, you must ensure it that what was required. So y should be greater than 0. And now if we keep on that promise, y should be greater than 0. So that means they are not going to be the part of the range. This is not the part of the range. So this is not the part of the range because y is greater than 0. Only this much. Or otherwise there was no problem. You might have written like this. But further you can say, but y is greater than 0. But y is greater than 0. And now you can rule out these. Now you can rule out these. Or you can rule out earlier. It is all up to your will. You can rule out earlier or at this stage that it should be so. The range is just consisting of only this side, positive side, 1 by 3 to infinity. Is it all right? So I have done something in between just to point out that how the mistake can be committed, how it is to be rectified. So we should have taken care of that. So here I have just talked about the domain and the range, just a bit of real valued functions. In your classes, have you done the functions or not? Anybody in your classes? You have passed the year and there were 20 periods allotted to this section. 20 periods they were allotted. One full chapter was there on functions. The very first chapter that was on functions. The first chapter was on set theory. The second was on functions. So have you omitted that chapter completely? So what type of mathematics you are learning? So that forms the foundation of mathematics. Functions, they form the very foundation of mathematics, domain and range. If we don't know the domain, so then what we are doing? We have not learned anything properly. So something was lacking. And really this thing is lacking in our most of the schools. That problem is with us. So nobody puts stress upon these functions. So I am of the opinion that mathematics must be put on the proper footing. So here is and now I am taking a little bit further. This function further is 1, 1 function. What is an onto function? What is a 1, 1 function and onto function? There was one full chapter in class 11 and one full chapter in class 12, one complete chapter on class 12, where that function is being taken further. Further, it is being taken to 1, 1 function, onto functions, then what are inversible functions. So what are inverse trigonometric? So we cannot think of inverse trigonometric functions unless we know that what is an inverse function. So just otherwise we will be reading just in here. So we should know that what is a 1, 1 function, what is an onto function. First of all, it must be a function. Only then we are to move ahead. Now, when a function will be 1, 1, when a function will be 1, 1, so different elements must have different images. Different elements must have different images. It may not happen that the different elements may have same images. Supposing there is a law like this, governing like this, here is a function, f of x equal to x square. Now supposing you put x equal to 2 in it, you are getting 4 as the answer, and you are putting x as minus 2. You are getting again 4 as the answer. So that means there are two different elements, they are giving you the same answer. Different elements giving you the same answer. So it should not happen. For a 1-1 function, different elements must have different answers. This is not a 1-1 function. The reason being f of 2 is equal to 4. F of minus 2 is also equal to 4. So different elements, they have got same image. Different elements, they have got same image. So different elements must have different images. Different elements must have different images. We can make a type of diagrams like this to understand that what is, these are functions, supposing A to B. Now here are some elements, different elements, supposing A, B, C, D like this, and here is alpha, beta, gamma. I put only 3 elements on this side. Now if I want to get a function, then corresponding to every element, I must get an image. Corresponding to every element, I must get an image. And corresponding to one element, I can't have 2 images. If I mark 2 arrows, that means one element giving you 2 answers. Well, that is not going to be a function. Every element must have a image. Now here this beta, this B, this may be alpha, this C, this may be again alpha, this D, again a gamma. So corresponding to every element, we are getting an image. Corresponding to every element, we are getting an image. And we are getting a unique image. So from one element, 2 arrows are not coming up. If 2 arrows are coming up from that place, that means one element is pointing out towards 2. So it is not going to be a function. And moreover, all the elements, they must have images. All the elements, they must have images. But this function is not 1-1. Why it is not 1-1? Why it is not 1-1? Because A and C, they are the different elements. They are going to the same element. They are giving the same image. So this cannot be a 1-1 function. For a 1-1 function, different elements must have different images. Is it all right? For 1-1 function, different elements must have different images. Now supposing the order of A is equal to M, and the order of B is equal to N. So how many relations are possible? Number of relations, can you tell me the number of relations? Number of relations, 2 raised to the power M into N. Because we know the order of A cross B, the order of A cross B is equal to M into N. So every subset is a relation. So that much we know, the number of relations. Can you tell me the number of functions? Every relation is not going to be a function. Number of functions may be less. Number of functions may be less. How many functions are possible? Can you tell me? So I mark a general situation. So here is the set A, this is the set B. This contains M elements. Order of A, M elements are there in it like that. M elements in total. And N elements on this side. Its order is M, its order is N. Now corresponding to one element, we must get an image. So how many ways are there to write down the image of an element? I take up a member from here. I have the image. How many ways are open to me? So one element can be disposed of in how many ways? N ways. I can write any element as the image. So one element can be disposed of in N ways. Is it all right? I pick up the second element. How many ways? Again N ways, not N minus 1. I'm not talking about 1-1 function. I'm talking about only about a function. So for a function, this element may also have the same image. Again, there are N ways. So N ways to this element, N ways to this element. Had there been only 2 elements, how many ways should have been? N into N. So in total, there are M elements. So N into N into N. How many times? M times. So number of functions. So what is the number of functions? That was the number of relations. That was the number of relations. So number of functions are how much? N raised to power m. N raised to, ulta mat kar dena. Not like that. It is n raised to power m. Is it all right? N raised to power m. So as far as this example was concerned, this particular example, so how many relations were possible? 4 and 3, 2 raised to the power 12. Is it all right in this example? Number of relations is 2 raised to the power 12. So how many functions in this example? How many functions? 3 raised to the power, and 3 raised to the power 4 is a much smaller number as compared to 2 raised to the power 12. 3 raised to the power 4 is how much? 81. So this is 81, and 2 raised to the power 12, I think, is a big number. So number of functions. So we can tell the number of functions. So we have reached one stage ahead. Not only the number of relations, we are in a position to tell the number of functions. And now comes 1-1 functions. So how many 1-1 functions? How many 1-1 functions? First, we learned that what is the number of relations. We learned how many number of functions is there. And now we are learning how many of them are 1-1. It's not essential that every element, every function is a 1-1 function. That is not a 1-1 function. That example before your eyes, that's not a 1-1 function. So that means number of 1-1 function may be still less. So how much? One thing is quite clear, that if its order is less than this order, then there cannot be a 1-1 function, because 4 elements must have 4 different answers. 4 elements must have 4 different answers. So on this side, one restriction is quite clear, that this number cannot be less than this number. If this number is less than this number, then no 1-1 function is possible. Is it all right? So now we are telling the number of 1-1 functions. Number of 1-1 functions. How many? So number of 1-1 functions from A to B. I am taking this as A now, general. I am taking this as A, this as B. Order of A is M. Order of A is M. Order of B is equal to N. So number of functions we have already decided is N raised to power M. Now we are looking about these type of functions. So what about this number? This number is equal to 0. No such functions, provided N is less than M. Provided N is less than M. Is it all right? If this number is smaller than this number, then there cannot be any 1-1 function. So if N is less than M, then no 1-1 function, 0. Number of such functions is 0, or in other language, there is no 1-1 function. Is it all right? But if N is greater than or equal to M, then the possibility is there. They should be there. If N is greater than or equal to M, if N is greater than or equal to M, then now you try to see. You have taken up a member from here. How many ways are there to write down the answer? N ways, right? You pick up the next element. How many ways? N minus 1 ways, not N ways. Because one element you have already booked, and now you can't write that element as the image. Is it all right? So this will be N. So next will be N minus 1. And then the next element will be N minus 2. So how many factors? N minus 1, N minus 2, so on up to M factors, because it has got M factors, up to M factors. So what is this meaning? N minus 1, N minus 2, so on up to M factors. In the language of permutation combination, what can you write? NPM. What was NPM? NPM was this much, N minus 1, N minus 2 up to M factors. So we can put it in a good language. Instead of saying like this, we can say like this. Why not to say it in the good language? NPM. Then the number of functions would be NPM. Is it all right? So as far as that example was concerned, in that case, n was less than 1. So no 1, 1 function is there. Otherwise, we are in a position to tell the number of 1, 1 functions. Well, for inverse functions, we shall see that our original function must be 1, 1. If original is not 1, 1, we cannot think about the inverse function. But still something more to be learned. And more to be learned is about an onto function. 1, 1 function. If the function is 1, 1, all right. Otherwise, we say many 1. Many 1, we are not to decide. So this function we can say not 1, 1. This function we can say not 1, 1, or in other language we can say that this function is many 1. So for this many 1, there should be no that is pressure on the brain. So it should be simply to decide whether it is 1, 1 or not. If it is 1, 1, all right. Otherwise, we say it that it is many 1. Why many 1? There are two elements going to the same image, more than one element going the same image. We are calling it as many 1. Even if you are getting two elements, so we can call that function as many 1. So many 1, 1, 1. So don't think these are two things you have to remember or you have to think of. You have to think of only about 1, 1. If it is 1, 1, fine. Otherwise, we shall say it that it is many 1. Now, what is onto? What is an onto function? For onto, a range must be equal to codomain. The range of the function, must be equal to codomain. Range must be equal to codomain. B is definitely called the codomain. So range should be equal to the codomain itself. Range should not be a part of that. It should not be a proper subset of that. The fully. It should be covered fully. So that means corresponding to every element of B, there must be some element on the side whose image turns out to be that element. So there are two ways to look upon this. One way may be we can find the range and we can check it whether the range is equal to full-fledged that codomain or not. If it is exactly codomain, we can say that it is onto. Or another way out is to look upon this. We can pick up any element from B, not only one element, all elements one by one, in fact. So corresponding to every element of B, there must be some element in the original. Whose image should turn out to be that element. Are you getting it? So this B should be fully covered. B should be fully covered in the form of images. No element of B should be left uncovered. So corresponding to every element of B, we must get some element in the original whose image should turn out to be that element. That's another way of looking. One way of looking may be we can find the range if possible. Range is equal to this. Sometimes it may not be practicable to find the range. Then we might look upon the situation like this. Pick up any element from here and find out what we are getting on this side. So that is a type of situation. Now here, instead of this problem, I am still simplifying it. Let me have another question, you can say. Here is another example for an onto function. So I am having the set A, say A, B, C, D, and this set containing only two elements. Now, in this case, one situation is quite clear, that here if n is bigger than this, then on this side, supposing you have got 5 elements on this side, and this side you have got 7 elements, then 5 elements can have at most 5 images. Are you getting? So some element will be definitely left uncovered on this side. So one thing is quite clear, that if n is greater than m, then there will not be any onto function. Is it all right? So in general, now we can say, what about the number of onto functions? So here is the number of onto functions. Onto functions from A to B, of course, from A to B. Well, this will be equal to 0 if n is greater than m. If n is greater than m. Is it all right? If n is bigger, so quite clear on this side, you are having 5 elements on this side, and you are having 7th element on this side. So 5 elements can at most have 5 images. It is possible 5 element may have less number of images because it may not be 1, 1. So 5 elements may have less number of images, but it cannot have more than 5 images. It cannot have more than 5 images. So one thing becomes quite clear that if this n is greater than m, then no onto function is possible. But if n is less than or equal to m, then there are chances. If n is less than or equal to m, then there are chances. How many? We are looking for this gap. We are trying to look upon this gap. And for that purpose, I am taking you to a very simple example. So to fill up that gap, that really what is that number? This is somewhat a hard problem to answer. Somewhat hard. Anyway, let us try to understand it. So I am looking upon this. What is the number of relations possible? Number of relations. Tell me the number of relations in this case. 2 raised to the power 2 raised to the power 8. Number of relations. So how many functions? How many functions? Good, good. Number of functions is 2 raised to the power 4. Is it all right? How many 1, 1 functions? 1, 1 functions. N is less than m. N is less than m. So we cannot have 1, 1 functions. So number of 1, 1 function is 0. Is it all right? Number of 1, 1 function is 0. Because there are 4 elements. So well, to have this 1, 1, there must be at least 4 elements on this side. So that's not there. So there is no 1, 1 function. Now onto functions, that might be there. Total number of functions is 2 raised to the power 4. Total number of functions is 2 raised to the power 4. Now my question is, how many of them are onto? Onto is possible. Number of onto functions, they are there. And how many? Can you count them? Total number of functions is 2 raised to the power 4. So how many of them are onto? Well, here look upon the situation. If all the elements are mapped to alpha, if all elements are mapped to alpha, then beta will be left uncovered. Is it all right? Or if all are mapped to beta, then alpha will be left uncovered. So there are only 2 such functions which are not onto. Otherwise, all other functions are onto. So as far as this particular example is concerned, the number of onto function is 2 raised to the power 4 minus 2. Number of onto functions. Because here, if all the elements are mapped to alpha, beta is left uncovered. Or if all the elements are mapped to beta, then that alpha will be left uncovered. That is the only situation where the function cannot be onto. The number of onto function is 2 raised to the power 4 minus 2. I can open up this problem a little bit. Instead of 4, I can take 5. So if I take 5 elements on this side, but only 2 on this side, then what will be the number of functions? 2 raised to the power 5. And how many of them will not be onto? Only 2. So that means in that case, it will be 2 raised to the power 5 minus 2. I can generalize on this side. I can take m elements. And if m is greater than or equal to 2, m is greater than or equal to 2, then the number of functions will be 2 raised to the power m. Number of onto functions will be this much. Provided there are 2 elements on this side. Provided there are only 2 elements on this side. If there are only 2 elements on this side, then the number of onto functions is quite clear. And instead of 2 elements, I am taking the problem to a little bit hard stage. to this stage A, B, C, D say, and on this side I am taking 3 elements, alpha, beta, gamma. So can you tell me the number of relations? Number of relations? 2 raised to the power 12. So number of functions? Right. Number of 1, 1 functions? Yes? Yes. Number of 1, 1 functions is 0. And how many on 2? Total number of functions, they are available. 3 raised to the power 4. Total number of functions, 3 raised to the power 4. Now the question is that how many of them are on 2? So how many are on 2? No, that's the wrong answer. I expected that you are going to give me that answer. No. This is a situation like this. Here are 4 things. They are to be distributed to 3 persons. 4 things. They are to be distributed to 3 persons. And each one must get at least 1. If it does not get 1, that will be left uncovered. Is it all right? There are 4 things, and they are to be distributed among 3 persons. 4 things. They are to be distributed among 3 persons, and each one must get at least 1. Each one must get at least 1. And I discussed this thing in permutations and combinations. So how to go through this problem? There are 4 things to be distributed among 3. What is the way out? 4 things to be distributed among 3 persons. Each must get at least 1. So what can do is 1, 1, and 2. There are 4 things to be distributed among 3 persons. 1, 1, 2. That I can change. I can give 2 to alpha, or I can give 2 things to beta, or I can give 2 things to gamma. But one thing is quite clear. I have to make the situation like this, that these things are to be distributed among 3. And how to divide it in the groups? So there are 4 things. 4 things to be distributed among 3 groups containing 1 factorial, 1 factorial, 2 factorial, but still to be divided by 2 factorial. I discussed this problem quite in depth in your permutation combination.